Hello, I'm Bobby Sutton and welcome to the Back Room. Today I'd like to discuss, is brand loyalty the same thing as fan loyalty? When it comes to loyalty, an organization or a brand, there's nothing stronger or more resilient than a sports team. I can't think of any product that can let its consumer down and still maintain an avid and passionate consumer group season after season. Generally, brand loyalty is only possible when the product maintains its promise or its marketable function. If the product or the brand deviates or lets down the consumer, they're going to drop it like a hot potato. Brand loyalty is contingent on the brand upholding its promise to the consumer. But sports teams don't seem to suffer from this extreme accountability, or at least not in the same way. As psychologists Dan Wynn and Robert Paskoff state, sports teams have what's called fan loyalty, which is different than brand loyalty. Two of the key differences between fan loyalty and brand loyalty are that fan loyalty has team tradition, history, and group affiliation. Teams like Major League Baseball's the Cincinnati Reds, which is Major League Baseball's longest running baseball franchise, the oldest team, have had generations for families to form an identity as Reds. You grow up as a Cincinnati Red, which being born into it is really the only way you can explain being the fan of certain teams. And being born into a family of Cincinnati Reds automatically gives you a ticket or a pass into a larger social group or society of Cincinnati Reds fans. The group affiliation and traditions associated with sports teams extends past families and goes to define the culture of entire regions and cities. This affiliation and these traditions help individuals form an identity and a relationship with the group around them. And belonging to a fan group instills a sense of nationalistic pride, at least as far as being a member of this team group or the region this team represents. Anytime the team wins, the whole region wins, which instills pride and a sense of superiority over the losing region. Anytime the team loses, you fall back into a community safety net and you all endure the loss together. Winning and losing together binds you together, and you have a shared narrative with your fellow fans. I can relate to this. I was born into the SEC as a Gamecock. My father went to school there, and as an alum, he raised me under the umbrella of the Gamecock Nation. I was raised in that fan group. That was part of the trappings of my growing up. If I were given a chance to choose my affiliation later in life, I probably wouldn't choose a team predicated on breaking your heart, but since I was raised a Gamecock and most of my social group are Gamecocks, I can't seem to really divorce myself from being a Gamecock. But not everyone is born into a fan system. Sports organizations are always trying to grow their brand. They're always trying to bring in new fans, new blood, more money. The purpose of any business is to create a customer. The purpose of sports teams are to create fans. Happy and loyal fans buy tickets and merchandise, and they spread the good word and their passion about their team. Passionate fans give teams the best advertising and marketing they could buy. Word of mouth. But where do the first fans come from? A sports team can't just pop up and expect fans to be born fans. That's a really random and unsustainable way to grow your fan base. So they must market themselves to someone. They have to brand their organization and the team of the people or region and represent those people in that region and make them feel like winners. Growing up, the NFL team that represents my region, my home, wasn't founded until I was well old enough to make a choice on who I was going to follow. I liked football growing up, but no team was around me, no team really represented me or even tried to. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's a new team claiming it's going to represent two states and show the world that the Carolinas are full of winners. This was the first team to ever show up and offer representation to a community that had never had any. As such, the community that showed up, the fan base that grew, accepted this team's pitch and became the first ever fans of this team. They got a chance to establish the tradition, establish the history and what it meant to be a fan. They bought into the pitch, and from that point on, that team came to represent the Carolinas, a team of two states. And from that point on, the fans began to forge a new identity together. They experienced the highs of winning and the lows of being a very bad team for a while. But all of that, the successes and the trials, have helped forge them and build them into a collective unit that has a culture, it has an identity, it has beliefs, and it has a narrative of what it means to be a fan. And now these first generation fans have kids and they're raising the second and third generation fans with the knowledge of this is what it means to be a fan. So by hooking that first generation, the team successfully hooked the second and third generation. There is this core group of die-hard and born-into fans with every team. Their identity as a fan is strong and hardly ever sways. It's unaffected by the ups and downs of the brand that they're affiliated with. However, there is the concept of the bandwagon fan, or at least the fan that interacts with a team more like a traditional brand relationship. When the brand is strong and winning, they're visible and they start to spin and they buy more stuff. When the brand is losing, their jerseys get put in the closet and they stop spending as much and they become a lot less visible. So teams need to find other ways to engage these less fanatic fans and keep them coming back. So to teams, marketing and branding is important. Teams engage consumers all the time. Now with social media, it's much easier for teams and athletes to engage with the consumers and make them feel like they're a part of the team. Sports content is shareable because it's emotional. The diehard fans are sharing their passion and the bandwagoners can't really get away from it. Sports organizations are always reaching out to engage the core and the bandwagoners. They share behind-the-scenes stories. They show them out in the community doing volunteer work, helping the needy, and being a part of the community. They're constantly marketing and branding themselves as a part of the community or the region at large. And if done successfully, they're rewarded with loyalty and identification from their consumer base. So, is fan loyalty a result of branding, or are these two things completely separate? Where does fan loyalty begin and branding end? Also consider what makes you a fan of a team and what, if anything, would make you stop being a fan of your team. I look forward to hearing what you have to say about this. As always, leave your comments below and next week we'll address them. And of course, click subscribe. So every week we'll target an idea about advertising and mass communications, and every week we'll respond to your comments about the previous week's videos here at the end of this week's video, and this week being the new week of the last week. I don't know, this is how YouTube videos do it. This is a lot of my favorite vlogs use this style, and I didn't feel like reinventing the wheel on YouTube. I just figured we keep going with it since it seems to be working. Of course, I'm sure this vlog is going to evolve and eventually become its own thing and not keep copying stuff that already exists, but sometimes the medium is the message, right? Which that's a good idea for another vlog. Which reminds me, if you have ideas or topics that you want to discuss about advertising or mass media, leave them in the comments and we'll get to them. Thank you, and we'll see you soon. The Backroom is brought to you by Kernel. Kernel is a flex agency that specializes in hyper-localized advertising or national campaigns. They can really do anything you need. See their work here in this area. We'll put it up on screen, and see how Kernel can help you grow your brand. See ya.